Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to introduce you to the parts of a geographic information system so that we're all singing off the same hymn sheet when we talk about the various parts that we'll come across. The first part, which we all know, is data. Those are the things which go into the GIS. The GIS itself is the core of the system. It's capable of carrying out storage, and it's capable of carrying out analysis. We'll look at these in a minute. Well, the whole object is to produce information, and that's the stuff that comes out of the system. Information, it produces information. Information products come out. Let's go back to the beginning. Data. There are two kinds of data, generally speaking. One is data which are in hard copy, and the others, increasingly, they are now in digital form. Data in hard copy. They are maps, such as maps showing areas, and the attributes of those areas, which are typically in a list associated with the map. In this case, the attributes relate to the area. The second type will be maps showing lines, corridors, streams, railways, roads, and the attributes would relate to the line, not to the surface over which it passes. A third type of data, hard copy, are points. Wells, oil wells, for example, pumps, water wells, policemen, cars on roads, points, and the attributes this time are the attributes of the point, not of the land which they are traversing or are embedded in. And the complex versions are mixtures of the above. There are really only these three types of data, thank goodness. Otherwise, it would have been almost impossible to design systems in the early days. Digital data are digital from other systems, and they come in via interchange formats. They come in over the internet or an intranet. They come from servers. They may come from wireless sources. And they include maps and their attributes, and survey measurements can come in, and photogrammetry can come in, and images can come in, GPS recordings can come in, all of these typically coming in digital form. And then these data must be put into the GIS. The process of putting data into a GIS is spelt M-O-N-E-Y. That's the process. It's expensive. It costs money. Usually you have to convert the data from the form that they are in to the form that your system needs to accept. And you need to establish logical links between data elements in different data sets, because those linkages will be necessary if you are to make the information products that come out. The second, these things are stored inside the GIS, these data, where they are amenable to analysis. And the analysis word there is perhaps the most important of all, because GIS are essentially analysis engines. That's what they do. They use the functions of analysis which come in the software which is provided with the system. The data inside the system are managed by search engines and relational database management systems. And the analysis itself is usually under the control of an operator or maybe a batch process which is using these functions to work on the data to produce information products out. Information products may be a new map that you want to produce showing you where to buy a new house or where to plant a new type of crop. Or it may be a list of data coming out, names and addresses of people who must be informed that there's going to be a change in zoning, for example. Do not think that GIS only have to produce maps or any form of maps. New maps can these be in the form of photographs coming out, of images in 2 dimensions and in 3 dimensions. They can be in the form of schematics coming out. The product can also include the steps in the analysis that were required to make it in a flowchart of activity. These can be produced as information products. Quick queries can be shown on your monitor and sent to a printer. Versions of these information products can be put on to a CD or to other digital media to serve to other systems and served on the internet or the intranet or on GIS online services or on the internet server or wireless and increasingly on the web. So now you have an idea of the principal parts of GIS: the data, the GIS with its capabilities of storage and analysis, and the information products that come out. What sort of GIS you ought to get and use depends on the information products that you wish to generate. You have to know what it is you want to get out of it. Only when you know what information products you need to produce do you know what data to put into the system in the first place. There's no such thing as good data. There is only useful data and useless data. Useful data is data which is needed to make information products that is going to be of value to your organization. Useless data is data that just goes into storage and is not used to make information products. So you must know what information products you want to produce before you know what data to put into your system. When you know what data you're going to put into your system and what you want to get out, you know what kind of analysis has to be done on those data to produce the information you want. So until you know the information you want out, you don't know what types of analysis your system has to do. You don't know what functions your system has to have. And so the key to getting the right system in place is knowing what functional analysis requirements it's going to be required to do and how frequently it's going to be required to produce that. Only when you know what information products you are going to get and how many times they are needed do you know how frequently the data is going to be used and how frequently those functions are going to be exercised and what platform size you will need to produce them and what bandwidth you will require in your distributed system to push those information products out to the people who wish to have them. Now, consider this. The only benefit that you are going to get from having a geographic information system comes from the information products. It is the information that they provide that will let your organization work more effectively, or let you do something better, or faster, or cheaper than you have done before. That's where the benefit from having a GIS comes from. It comes from the changes in your organizational workflows that you can make, having better information when you can work smarter. Everything else in the system, the data, the input, and the system itself, and the storage and the system use is all cost. Everything up to this point is cost. The benefit comes entirely from the information products. So, the first step in GIS planning is knowing what you want to get out of it. And that will lead you into what data you must have and put it into the system, and what functionality your system must have to produce the information that you require. In fact, if there's one thing that I want you to take away from today, it's that phrase that when you're planning a system, it all depends on knowing what you want to get out of it. Now I'm going to pass the seminar into the hands of Mr. Dave Peters, who will show you how to carefully describe the information products that you want to get out of the system. And furthermore, he'll show you how to design the architecture of the system that will produce them, and how you can size the computer platforms that you need to put in place to manage the amount of work that you have to do. And also measure the bandwidth requirements of moving your information products out on the web to the people who need to use them. Finally, he will demonstrate how to calculate the benefit cost of the entire system. Take into account the benefits that come from having the new information and the costs of the data and the GIS and its functionality that needs to be put in place to create those information products. Don't forget, the key to it all is knowing what you want to get out of it. Thank you.